Welcome to the Sacred Window podcast. Here, we look closely at the intersections of the postpartum window, the Ayurvedic perspective on health and healing, and the universal mother principles that are the keys to giving and receiving effective care. Hello, I'm Christine Devlin Eck. I'll be taking you through interviews with professionals who are making a profound difference in the lives of their clients, conversations with individuals brave enough to share their stories of vulnerability as a way to lift up others, and my own journey through birth, parenting, caregiving, and building a conscious business. We are here to honor the sacred windows, the profound transitions in life that give it all meaning. Welcome to the conversation.
And I will never be the same again.
Today I feel called to speak about 7 key things that are not told to us during pregnancy. They're not told to us about postpartum. And because of this lack of awareness and information and emphasis, sometimes maybe it is kind of implied, or maybe it is told in one way, but because there's no emphasis on a larger scale in our society, we may just not fully be able to understand or be ready. So this episode is looking at 7 things they don't tell you about postpartum. So let's go into this, because I know for myself, as a very curious researcher type person, when I became pregnant, even before I became pregnant, I was really interested in knowing all there was to know. And so moving through my pregnancy, I felt very empowered by what I knew and how I could prepare for birth. And then in birth, really empowered by what my body was doing. And I felt supported because I had this plan, this awareness, this team, this level of knowing that even when, of course, birth is going to have its own trajectory, and there are many things that may surprise us, I felt prepared for it. What I did not feel prepared for was the weeks and the months that followed. Even though I thought I had read all the books, I thought I had done all the work, this was something that was like being blindsided. And so this episode comes from my own personal experience and of connecting with many others who feel the same, who feel that fire of, wait a minute, we need to know more about postpartum. There needs to be more here because too many people are moving into this sacred window with not enough information. So the first of the 7 things, the person who gives birth, the mother, will be healing for a while. And if care is not taken to properly heal, everything is going to be more difficult. This may seem like a no-brainer, and yet what I didn't realize is that I needed to be cared for in so many of the similar ways that my baby needed to be cared for. I was not equating my state of being with as being as fragile as my baby. So I've been blessed with robust health my life so far. So maybe it was taking it for granted that I'm strong, I got this, I can do it, it'll be fine, we'll figure it out. The fact is that Ayurveda, this very ancient science of life, and other very ancient sciences of health tell us that this is a unique time, and there are specific types of care, specific considerations for the postpartum body that must be acknowledged in every person. It's not just, oh, well, some people should be cared for, or some people are more fragile. Yes, we all have varying qualities of health that we come into the postpartum window with. Yet it takes about 6 to 8 weeks at a minimum for the body, for the mind, for the heart, for the integration of birth to happen, for us to feel vibrant and strong enough to move out into the next stage of parenting. Oftentimes we'll hear people say postpartum is forever. And I love that in so many ways because it's acknowledging the irreversible transition that we go through. But what is important here is time. It is going to take time and intentional care for this healing, this vibrancy, this reclamation of health after birth to really, really set in. So, number 2, there are many simple measures that can be taken by the individual and by the caregivers in the home to support healing, and they must be taken. I didn't know what to do about that clogged duct. I didn't know what to do about the sweating I was experiencing when I slept. I didn't know what to do about the painful latch. There were so many things that I didn't know how to address on my own. So some of these things I was able to be given guidance by my beloved midwives, but there was so much, such as, how do I start to go to the bathroom again? I'm still not going to the bathroom, and this is starting to get uncomfortable. There are so many things that we can learn how to do just by using simple routines, simple foods, simple herbal support things, all kinds of very doable actions at home to support the body's natural healing. Not everything was going to require me to turn to a medical professional. And knowing that there were actions that I could take, that I could prepare for ahead of time, would have made all the difference in that first postpartum window. There's so much that we can do just by knowing. These are some things that we're not taught. And fortunately, there's lots of information now. We have so many resources available today that weren't there in 2007 when I became a parent. Number 3, food is vital, but it's got to be the right foods for the right person. When we go into the postpartum window, our digestive fire, our ability to digest food changes, and it almost really goes away. So we can't take the same food in and be able to process it and have our body use it for nourishment. Because what happens is we'll take it in and the body's like, whoa, I don't know what to do with this. And it'll sit there and it will become undigested material. In Ayurveda, we call this ama. So our role in the postpartum window is to begin small with foods that we can actually digest. And the beautiful thing is that there are so many resources for postpartum foods and recipes. You can go to our website and get the cookbooks that are there. You can come and learn about postpartum nutrition and cooking for those of you who love food and love preparing food. But this is really vital, and it's missing from the messaging that we're getting from our birth professionals. We can completely impact every aspect of our healing, beginning with the food we put in our mouth. And it's so fast how it impacts our minds, how it impacts our emotions, how it impacts the way our tissues begin to heal. Those simple first foods, when they are digestible, when they are created with the qualities that are necessary for the postpartum body to be able to use that nutrition to heal, it will happen so quickly. So food is vital. The right foods are vital. Number 4, routines. Routines. Everything changes when a baby comes into the world. Everything is just brand new. And for a lot of us, this can create a feeling of ungroundedness. That's a really natural thing for people in the postpartum window to experience, is this unsettled, overwhelm of everything being new and not quite knowing how it's going to go or how to have a handle on it or how to cope with the changes. So one thing that we realize is that by creating rhythms and routines based on what is nourishing to the person, this settles us in. This creates a sense of grounding. This creates an ability for us to feel safe, to feel like we've got this, to feel empowered. So maybe those routines involve trying to eat our meals at the same time. Maybe it involves using the same massage oil and prioritizing 5 minutes before we go to bed to get that oil and rub it all over our bodies, because we know that that's really nourishing to all the tissues, including the nervous system. Maybe it's doing the bath and infant massage with our baby every day. Maybe it's taking the same herbal support foods every single day. And trust me, I know that doing anything routinely, especially at a time that is so new, can be a challenge. But what we find is that by prioritizing rhythm, that act is medicinal over time. When we can create a routine that is based on what is nourishing for us, for our babies, this is medicine. This act, this practice is medicine, and that will set us up to continue rhythms that support our healing and well-being. So as small as that routine needs to be, that's great. It doesn't have to be a complicated routine. It could be simply make sure there's always hot water in my thermos, or make sure that I am doing this 5 minutes of breathing at this time every day. Maybe it's I'm saying this prayer or this mantra over and over again. What it is unique to you, unique to your client. But finding, and this is where a postpartum caregiver can really make an impact, where we work with the person to be like, hey, let's help find some rhythm and steadiness here. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you to make this happen. I'm going to bring you your herbal support foods. I'm going to bring you this tea every day. But we can be a huge support. We can talk to partners about that, and older siblings, and have them be part of this, knowing that healing routines and healing practices is a dedication of time. It's not something that's like a quick fix. This is something that over time makes impact. How are you sharing your gifts and passion for caregiving with others? In a world where education and awareness around the postpartum window is lacking or missing from our modern systems, we have a profound opportunity to shift that paradigm. You may be a few simple offerings away from making a truly impactful difference in the lives of mothers and families in your community. We are here to support your journey in the ways that work best for you. Schedule a conscious care strategy session to meet one-on-one with me, and let's identify the right next step for you to begin a path of conscious care for new families that fits your life and your needs. Visit www.sacredwindowstudies.com/strategy-session to schedule a time that works best for you. That's www.sacredwindowstudies.com/strategy-session. So the next one, support is vital. The right support. I remember, kind of offhand, like, oh, yep, my mother-in-law is going to come for a week. Oh, yep, my mom will come in for a week. We'll be good. Unfortunately, my husband was a teacher and my son was born on the first day of school. And so there was that tornness of, okay, well, I'll get you at home, but not for very long because you have to go to work. What I didn't realize is that that was not enough. It wasn't enough. I needed to gather my network. I needed to know who were lactation consultants that I could call on, who were my close friends that could come and bring me food and just check on me and just be there to listen to me or hold space for me, who were other key support people that maybe I wasn't going to need them, but I needed to know that I had community. And too often our world is very isolating at times, and we feel, even though we know people and we're so connected, whether it's like, oh, I have a million people at my fingertips, and yet we're not really surrounded by the support we often need. And one thing we learn about the postpartum window when we are vulnerable, if we look back at any society hundreds of thousands of years ago, what is characterized by the sacred window is people gathered to lend support. People gathered to bring food, to take over tasks that that person had, to create seclusion, to make the medicines, to take care of the older children, to help with this transition. And if we think about what we see for families today, what we often see are closed doors and people on their own. So moving past this unhealthy paradigm takes intention, it takes work, and it takes knowing what we want to experience or what we want our clients to experience and asking the questions, doing the facilitation, maybe feeling uncomfortable and asking someone to be there for us when we don't want to seem not capable of it ourselves. Support is vital, and the right support is vital. The next one is that the heart is wide open and we have to protect it. Of course, we've seen like the stereotypes of maybe it's mom brain, or maybe it's, oh, they're so hormonal, they're postpartum. We've come to equate the word postpartum with mood disorder. And what's so beautiful is that nature designs for us to be on the subtle plane in this sacred window. Being on this subtle, open, sensitive plane allows us to communicate on a subtle level with our babies. It allows us to enter and be in this sacred window in a way that we can communicate without words. We can be alert to what needs our babies have without them sharing it with us verbally or in any other type of communication which we're used to using. This is on purpose. And we really can lean into the beauty of that and see it as a superpower, because it is. And yet, if we put expectations on ourselves to be able to handle the world and handle all of the sensory input that normally wouldn't be an issue for us to take in, to handle all of the decision making or the sort of surprising stress that can come our way at times, we then often might feel badly that we're not able to handle this. It's just too much. And so one thing that we can see, again, traditionally looking at many different ways that cultures around the world take care of their new parents, is that they give them a seclusion, a lying in, a sacred window. This is to be able to protect the senses as well as give space and time to heal. So this idea of really thinking about, what am I taking in on a sensory level? What do I want to take in on a sensory level? Maybe this will impact what we're reading, what we're watching, what we're listening to, what we prioritize. Maybe part of our routine is really about creating breathing practices or meditation moments where we're able to attract, to call in, to generate what is sattvic, sattva meaning purity, clarity, peace in the heart, in the subtle spaces. We can impact this, we can bring this quality in by acknowledging that our hearts are wide open on purpose. Nature wants it to be that way. It's not a bad thing, it's a very beautiful, intentional thing. And so this is our opportunity to really honor that and move forward with the grace and the gentleness to know that I don't have mom brain as a deficit. I have this to be able to care for my baby in the way that I need to. So we can give some grace to ourselves when we might be self-critical, or we might feel criticism from others, or we might put pressure on ourselves to do more than we're really designed to be doing at this time. And so the final one that I want to say, and of course, there's so much to say about this window of time. It doesn't end here. But this final one to me is like the essence of what was missing from what I saw as this Western tradition or lack of tradition around caring for people after birth. And that is the idea that this is a sacred window. In Ayurveda, we learn about a Kaya Kalpa window, which is a time that's different from all the other times in life. It's a time that when care is given to someone during this Kaya Kalpa, or body time, is what it literally means, the care that's experienced has an impact that is greater and more received on a greater level, on an exponential level, on an elevated level than at other times in life. So what this means is that during the postpartum time, when someone is given the care that they need nutritionally, supportively, with their communities, with herbs, with body treatments, with all the things we know correct and give healing to the tissues, when someone receives this, they respond so fast and immediately. And the body realizes, like, oh, yeah, I'm getting what I need and I'm going, I'm doing it. What's characterized is that this is like, I've heard it described to me from teachers as a reversal of the aging process almost. We can just take that healing and run with it. But what is also very true is that when this time is ignored, if we put things into the body or stressors on the body that are not in support of the healing, we can create lasting impact that can bring up struggles down the road. And sometimes there will be people who are going through menopause who look back and realize that they can trace the imbalance that they felt to after birth. So what we're looking at here is the sacred window of time where we are really called to be cared for in a special way. And we will continue to keep talking about this until the paradigm begins to shift. And I am so affirmed and excited to see it shifting all the time as more students are coming into this program, as more people are realizing this is just something that we all as humans need to know, because we all will know and love someone who's going to have a child. We all know and love someone who deserves to heal fully and completely and be empowered as a parent who can have resiliency and raise incredible children to carry on our next generations. So for me, who's not anymore in my sacred window of postpartum, what I have also learned, and this wasn't on my agenda to say in this podcast, but I'm going to say it, is that the tools and the concepts that I have learned for the postpartum window continue to be relevant to me as I go through each new stage of my life, as I go through each new stage of parenting. It created this wholeness, this worthiness, this toolkit for resiliency within me, because I was able to apply sacred window care to 3 of my postpartum windows. So I am here to say that it has changed me, and it has changed many, many, many others. And it's so exciting to see this work become part of the conversation in a much more real, concrete, and impactful way. So I hope that this exploration of the 7 things they don't tell you about postpartum has an impact on you, and perhaps will give you the opportunity to shift the paradigm for yourself or those you care for. Um, you're honored here. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this, and please share if it resonates.
Shanti, Shanti.
The Center for Sacred Window Studies has been training postpartum care providers, professionals who work with new families, and individuals passionate about postpartum care since 2018. We regularly host live free events alongside our online and in-person training and certification programs. Hop on our newsletter list to get direct access to all of our events and community support gatherings. Our mission is not only in training conscious postpartum care providers, but in fostering a robust, informed, and thriving community of postpartum professionals. Once you step inside, you're family forever. Visit www.sacredwindowstudies.com to add your email to our newsletter list. You can support our work by subscribing to the Sacred Window podcast and sharing with someone you know who would love it. Thanks for being here and participating in the culture-wide shift that recognizes the need for and the importance of conscious postpartum care.